Yo, it's that time. Get ready to unwind with Jillian on the mic. The best you'll find. Pop that cork. Let's start the chat on the Polywine podcast, where it's all that. Join the crew as we dive into the scene. Current events heated, know what I mean? Jillian sitting pretty while pouring the wine. Hot topics bubbling, everything aligns. From politics to the latest in fame. Reality TV, it's never the same. Grab your glass, let's raise it high. In the world of crazy, we're never shy. Polywine vibes, come on, let's sip. Gossip and laughter, all part of the...
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today on Polywine, where we like to take a deep dive into stories pulled from the media and have a fun time while breaking it down. I'm Jillian, and let's get into it. Well, here on the Polywine podcast, you know we like to uncork the biggest stories in politics, current events, and the ideas shaping our world. Well, today I'm excited to welcome our guest, Howard Polskin, a founder of The Writing, a unique news platform dedicated to tracking, analyzing, and explaining the conservative media landscape. With decades of experience in journalism and media, Howard has built a reputation for helping readers understand how stories develop, how narratives spread, and how media influences public opinion. So please welcome our guest to the show today, Howard Polskin of The Writing. Well, hello, everyone. I would love to introduce our very special guest today, Howard Polskin of The Writing. How are you today?
I'm great. It's great to be here. Thank you
Well,
for having me.
of course, I'm very excited to have you because I think this is such the perfect time to have somebody, of your expertise, and I find your newsletter so fascinating, to somebody who can be considered an outsider to some of the right-wing media and some of the conservative conversation. I think your newsletter, The Writing, really kind of gives a nice summary and also gives us some links to information. And right now, I think this is a really important time. We are in the primaries, heading to the midterms, and I think there's a very strong shift in both parties. And I have found your newsletter fascinating, interesting, and it gives me a nice different perspective that I probably would not have had before. So please, if you could tell everybody about yourself, a little bit about your background, why you decided to start The Writing, and what is it, if you could give us a nice description. And I know that's a lot, but I want to introduce you to everybody.
Well, first of all, thank you for that. That was a brilliant summation
Okay.
of my work, and my ego is swelling. So
Okay.
thank you. It was very nice.
My
So
pleasure.
I have been in the media my entire professional life. I got into the media because I was a poor student, and the only way I could retain anything was really to write stuff down. And then that's how I absorbed information through
Mhm.
high school, college, and then when I started my professional career. So most of my career, I was spent half of it in journalism. I was a staff writer for TV Guide magazine. I covered a lot of TV news,
Mhm.
so I understand that and sizes of audiences. And then I got into public relations, working for CNN, Sony, and the consumer magazine industry. Um, but 10 years ago, almost 10 years ago, after the election of Donald Trump in
Mhm.
2016, the next morning I woke up and I said, how the hell did this happen?
Right.
I just could not understand it. And I thought, what forces led half of America to vote Donald Trump into the highest office in the land?
Perplexing.
And almost immediately, I started going to right-wing sites that I had never, ever been on before. And I considered myself a well-informed individual. I
I
read the
thought
New
so
York
too. Thanks.
Times, right, then Wall
Yeah.
Street Journal. I read Time Magazine. I watched
Right.
the nightly news. I
Yes.
did all the things that were expected to be a smart, well-informed person. And
Mhm.
somehow I missed this huge, huge event. But once I started going to sites that I
Yeah.
had never visited before, the answers started coming. So, for instance, I had never been, I was aware, certainly aware of Fox News and foxnews.com. I'd never been to foxnews.com. I was aware of the National Review. I never really read it, but I went to nationalreview.com for the first time. I went to Breitbart. I went to InfoWars. I started going to all these places. And first of all, I was blown away by
Shock.
how many right-wing outlets there were. It
Right.
was like, whoa, this is extraordinary. And it was like a supermarket of right-wing information. And you could either pick little snacks of right-wing information and analysis, or you could go for the full meal that a place like Fox News offered.
Mhm.
Um, and I decided that, wow, there's got to be someone out there who's taking all the headlines from the right and packages them together in a nice bundle and sends it to my email every day. And no one was doing that. And that's when I got the idea for the writing. And
Genius.
it took me a few months of analyzing it because I wasn't sure, are there enough stories? Well,
Yeah.
duh. Yeah, there's so many.
Who
And then
knew?
in August of 2017, Charlottesville happened. And
Right.
Trump made his famous, there are good people on both sides remark. And that's when I decided I am going ahead. And a few weeks later, I launched the writing. And if it wasn't for my sisters and a few close friends, no one would have subscribed.
Yeah.
You know what it's like to
You
launch
gotta
a
love
media
the sisters.
venture.
Yes,
You
yes.
know it's like, and it took a while for it to catch on, and it eventually did, and started a lot of influential people, powerful people, smart people started subscribing, and
Yeah.
here we are almost a decade later.
Well, it's great. It really is great. And I was reading an article from a couple years ago in The Hill, and they said that Gavin Newsom um logs into your newsletter and gets information to kind of see what's happening on the other side. Because if you are not in that bubble, I mean, it is just nowhere near your radar. That's how it was for me when I first started kind of watching some more of these right wing outlets, news medias, and social media really is the wild west out there. I was blown away. I'm like, is this real? Like, who would have ever thought QAnon would have ever been a thing? And it had so much life to it, and for so long. So who would have thought?
But let's turn the clock back a second. Go back to 1968, the presidential election. There was an independent candidate named George Wallace, the segregationist governor of Alabama.
Yeah.
He got almost 14% of the popular vote across the nation. So this strain exists in America,
Hmm.
and it was dormant, somewhat dormant, right below the surface, but certainly Trumpism brought it full circle. It
Yeah.
probably was starting to bubble up to the surface with Sarah Palin, um,
Oh, yeah.
and, you know, and there is that carnival barker kind of um, personality that's going to draw people, which in a way is smart because we live in a celebrity culture, and Trump just took it 100 times further.
I hate to give him credit on this one, but if anybody knows how to use the media in their favor, or at once did, I feel like it's a little shaky ground these days. But Trump can use the media like nobody I've ever seen in office.
I mean,
He's
I will
brilliant.
just, he's brilliant. I mean,
He
I
really
will,
is.
but I like to say, um, I would, I think he should resign, and I think the country should appoint him our first chief marketing officer
Way
because
to go.
that it
Right.
aligns with his talent. He's a brilliant marketer. If we could package him and direct his energy to packaging the best of America and none of this bullshit, it
Yeah.
would be a great move and we'd get him out of the Oval Office.
I have never seen anybody master the spin as his administration. It is. What you see is not really what's happening.
Right.
Don't believe your eyes. And what you hear is not what happened. You're like,
It is. It's
that's
Jillian,
it's
where you point
amazing.
out, it's such an important thing because what you just pointed to, because once you no longer are tethered to the truth, you can say anything or
Any
morality or morality.
right.
if nothing matters, you can do what you want. There are no consequences.
And
And he
has.
figured that out. Yes, he figured that out.
It is really, it's scary times right now because anything can happen. It doesn't feel like he has a lot of restraints.
Nothing. No,
Nothing.
no, no guardrails whatsoever.
The
Yeah.
court has put him in check a few times, but they're still letting a lot of the major issues go right through and giving him the power.
Yeah, and I do think we cannot he's at his most dangerous when he appears to be at his weakest. That's really, and so
Unpredictable.
you never underestimate this man.
It's
It's
true.
almost a mystical power he has, and that is what we're contending with. So as much as I'd like to say, here we are, in midway through the year, and like to think like, wow, the Democrats really look like they have a smooth runway in the midterm elections. I just,
Not
I'm a
now.
little weary because I don't know what's coming down the pike in October and November.
Well, look what just happened in New York on Tuesday.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I
Yeah.
mean, it really is on both sides. There is a fracturing in both parties. And as an independent, I've heard so many people saying, "That's it. I'm leaving my party. I'm going to be an independent." I'm like, I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know how I feel because I'm like, I don't want to poison the well, because I feel like we were getting somewhere, a little bit of momentum, but now who knows? And now that
It's
you're it, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
right. I mean, don't you feel the earth shifted this week
It
with the
really has.
the
Even
Trump?
I was shocked watching
It's
the
like,
results.
what? What? Wait a minute. What's going on here? And I'm trying to digest it on what does this mean for the Democrats? But whatever it is, it doesn't feel good.
It
It does not.
doesn't.
It does not feel good. And it also points to the politics of extremity.
Yeah.
That's what seems to be appealing at this point in time to people. And it's like, so is Mondamiism going to sweep across the country?
I don't
Um,
know.
yeah, I don't
I
know.
think that's
I
a
mean,
tough sell for the Midwest
exactly,
and the South.
exactly. So, but it just feels like anything is possible, and it doesn't feel good generally. It's not like Whitmer is like suddenly powerful and stuff, like someone
Right.
right in the middle, smack dab in the middle. That does not seem to be an appealing politician at this
It
point in
does.
time.
It doesn't. It does seem like we're on shaky ground with the parties. But what do you see a major shift in like the MAGA base right now? Because a lot of people are very unhappy with Trump right now. A lot of people that voted him in that wanted to have certain key issues dealt with right away are very disappointed. So, from what you are reading from a lot of these outlets, do you feel like there's a shift happening? Do you see a shift
Yes,
happening? Okay.
there's definitely a split.
Okay.
It's happened before. I would like let's put it this way, I'm not disappointed about it, but does that mean that he's, on shaky ground and he's losing his grip? Um, I'm not gonna go that far.
Right.
I think he's got an uncanny ability to bounce back. Part of me looks at him, his physical appearance. He seems to be deteriorating before our eyes. He's
Yeah.
hunched over. He's looks bloated, sluggish.
He's
Uh,
sluggish.
but he likes a fight, and I think Mondami gives him a new, fresh target, and I think this will energize him.
Yeah.
Uh, and let's see what the next few months will bring.
If I may ask, what do you, when you were going through all these outlets, what is the overall feeling about JD Vance because of some of those issues with Trump, with his health? God forbid, if anything ever happened, JD Vance takes power. What do they feel about him? Because it's a mix on my side, from what I've heard.
I mean, first of all, just personally, I am more in the camp of, um, I think JD Vance is a talented politician. I think he speaks well. He
Hmm.
handled himself, very well 2 years ago, in the debate with Waltz. He speaks well. He's got the energy. He's married to a woman of color. So he ticks a lot of boxes. I mean, a lot of people say America won't go for him, this and that. I don't see him having as many liabilities as possible. He's
Susie
been
Wiles may disagree.
touche. Yeah, he's kind of, Trump's kind of dumped the ownership of the war in Iran and the outcome of that on Vance.
I
If it,
know. How did that happen? That
yeah.
was another skill set right there.
Yeah, I mean, in a way that's, Trump the showman, and we're all laughing at it, but we know he's deadly serious.
Did
We know that. But yes, I think right-wing media is split on Vance. They're split on Rubio. However, but between either one of them, to me, is far stronger than any candidate, that the Democrats have right now. I mean,
yeah.
they have youth, they have vitality, they're really good on their feet, they're battle hardened,
Yeah.
so they will be very formidable, coming into the 2028 elections. And let's not discount Pete Hegseth. Um, I do think, or as I like to call him, I call him hair gel Hegseth.
That
Um,
is funny. That's funny.
so I think, you know, um, I think Hegseth could be a candidate in there.
You
I
think?
do think he's a little too jittery, and I don't take him in the same vein as I take JD Vance and Marco Rubio, but I
Yeah.
would not count him out.
Really? See, in my opinion, but what do I know? This is why I need your area of expertise when you go to the other side, because it just sometimes when I hear it just does not compute to me because I'm not in that bubble. But I would think that Pete Hegseth would be out. First of all, I have the image of him at Gitmo working out the other week and like
Yeah.
yelling at the cadets. I can't get that out of my mind. But he has been such a screw up. I don't understand how anybody would be like, yeah, that's my guy.
You're probably right. I'm
Yeah.
just, I'm amazed that he's lasted this long. He's
Me
a Clinton
too.
founder, and so he's defied the odds. I don't think he's got the humor gear,
Oh no.
where Trump definitely has that.
Hmm.
Vance has that.
He
Um,
does. He can be
yeah,
quick witted. He can.
yes, he can be quick-witted. Hegseth is like, he's like the schoolyard bully who never smiles.
I
Yeah,
know. And he's just, yeah, he's pretty miserable.
yeah.
I did find it kind of funny speaking about Vance's wit, and I hate to give him credit, but I will. When he said he was like, for people who don't understand, and I'm paraphrasing, that I can't handle, international conflict and foreign relations. He's like, I just want everyone to know that I was on The View for an hour the other day. And he's like, and I sat next to Joy Behar, and now we're best friends. So I can handle conflict quite well under pressure. I thought that was kind of funny. That was pretty funny.
Yeah, he's good like that. I mean, that's exactly it.
He
Yeah,
does
that's
have that charm to him for sure,
yeah.
and quick banter. But what do you think about the press conferences that we've seen lately, with the people in administration give now that Caroline Levitt is out? It seems like it's a little bit kind of off the rails a bit.
I mean, they all feel off the rails. Maybe it's increasing now. She's probably playing more defense. So that it's easier to be on the offense than on the defense. Um, those press conferences always disturb me because
Yes.
she's very talented. I mean, just
Skillful.
think of this. You're not even 30
I
and
know.
you are dressing down veteran White House reporters who have years of experience covering several administrations, who know so much more about politics, the
I know.
political process, and how this country operates. And she's up there like a schoolmarm slapping their wrists. It's
It's
incredible.
disrespectful, in my opinion. It's extremely disrespectful. I have a major problem with that.
Yeah, I do, but it is kinda like, and I think
Yeah.
several years ago, before she was working for the White House, she hit my radar screen, and I was almost gonna do a story. I was thinking of doing a profile of her She
Okay.
had a profile as a young 23-year-old in New Hampshire politics. So
Oh,
I follow the politics in that state somewhat. So when she was named White House press secretary, I was like, "Where have I heard that name
yeah.
before?" And then it was like, "Oh, that's her. That's
I had
her."
never heard of her. So, I mean, what a
And I
fast
think,
line.
like, that is someone who's gonna have a long political career. She is
Hopefully.
yeah, she is, that I mean, that's what Trumpism has wrought. A lot of these people are gonna be with us for a long time, unless there's a significant change in the direction of this country.
Well, look what happened to Spicer. I hope that doesn't happen to her because she should have a very long, prestigious career in politics, but it didn't work out so well for
Well,
this one.
Spice Spice that was right,
She was Dancing with the
back to
Stars.
2000 going back to that first day Trump was president, 2017, you go, "Who is this clown?"
Yeah,
And, not surprisingly, he flamed out and, he's does not have the kind of same national prominence that he used to have, thank God.
right. Oh, yeah. Yeah, but I do give Caroline credit, a tip of the hat for what she has accomplished, but I do have a very hard time watching it, and just the disrespect that not only her, in my opinion, but also Trump, how he is just openly disrespectful to all the journalists. I really have a difficult time with, especially poor Caitlin Collins. It's really hard to watch.
It's interesting you bring that up because I wonder what are the internal discussions at places like CNN or the New York Times out like
I know.
when you get insulted by the president, do this or do that. I mean, I was a journalist for many years and I practice now and it's like, wow, if someone insults you, the knee-jerk reaction is to defend yourself or,
Right.
or to go you know, on the offensive. But, they pretend like it doesn't happen. And part of me is like, what? Like, how can you do that?
And they
Y y
just keep it rolling. And I think another thing that I find really kind of surprising is usually I always remember like there's a camaraderie. It just seems very different atmosphere in the press room now. That if a fellow journalist was disrespected like that, I would I recall like other journalists would like kind of do the follow-up question to back that journalist up because they will all stand together. They're all there to do a job. And it feels in the press room that it's every news outlet for themselves. There's
Yeah,
just no
definitely.
unity with them anymore.
Yeah, I mean, that's what and, listen as well, because of Trump and Trumpism, the type of language that gets used now that
I
winds its
know.
way on air or into publications like the New York Times, I've never seen four-letter words in these outlets before,
I
and
know.
that's what's going on now, and partly that
Everybody.
yeah, and partly that's a reflection of what gets said and posted on social media, but it's also, the president of the United States sets the tone. And
Yeah.
I don't know about you, Jillian, but every day, twice a day, I'm on Truth Social. I follow one person on Truth Social,
You're
and that is
right.
Donald J. Trump.
Ugh.
And every day I get my hair blown back by the type of language that he uses and how he insults people. It is astonishing.
Yeah.
Astonishing.
You used a perfect description in your newsletter today. Was it rancid?
Yes, rancid.
Yes. Perfect. When I was like, "Yep, that's the nail on the head right there." It is. It is below the dignity of the office, and it is shocking that he uses it so frequently. And now the gate has been opened up, so everybody in politics is using it and dropping it, and people that I never thought would say that on air, on live mic, are using these
And
expletives.
and now
Yeah.
Trump is now comparing Georgia Democratic Senator John Ossoff in his looks to Pee Wee Herman.
I know, that is beyond.
You know, like a gay man who, who was known for being, his act was being very effeminate, and that's who he's likening it to. I
It's
mean,
disrespectful.
it's like, and it's just, it's not even when I point this stuff out, it's not even newsworthy anymore. People just accept it, and that's really sad.
Yeah. It is it is really interesting to see how we have shifted with the news. I remember growing up and I loved, Peter Jennings was my guy. He was my go-to guy, and then Tom Brokaw. Like, these were our pillars of journalism that we would go to back in the day, and we could trust the information that was given to us, us viewers. And now we don't know what is real, what is truth. I mean, it is so sad to see where we are today. How did we land up here, Howard? How?
It's a combination of many factors, but Trumpism certainly is one of the main driving forces, no question
Right.
about
Yeah.
it. Now, and then you add in social media, now you have AI, and it's like, whoa, what world are we in right now? And it feels very dystopian.
And now how he's going with the FCC, how they're changing entertainment. You can't even say what you want before, invite who you want, the guests that you would like to invite on your shows. What a turn.
I know. I mean, but luckily you have outlets like this. You have so many, thousands and thousands of podcasts. There's so many ways to get information. So yes, it is terrible what the FCC is doing, but there's other ways for personalities to get their messages across,
Right.
and there's other platforms out there. So all is not necessarily lost, but it's not when you look at what's good, what's bad. It's certainly in the bad side of the column.
Yeah. And if I may ask you, now that we're heading into the midterms, where you're scouring all the information, what are some current trends, topics, conversations that we need to kind of have on our radar that we need to be aware of? Some definitely issues of concern that anybody like independents and democrats that we should kind of get an understanding, so we don't totally miss it.
Well, certainly what's coming, and this is just from this week, is the Democrats are going to be positioned as the party of socialists
Yeah.
or commies, quote unquote. That's what's really coming, and
Yeah.
that's going to be hit very hard. Um, and yeah, and certainly if gas prices come down, and if the war in Iran has a better conclusion than where we're at right now, that's going to help the Republicans and
Yeah.
Trump. Um, so yeah,
And John Bolton just pleaded guilty, so there's a bone for you.
yes,
They gotta be happy about that. He's been going after him for a while, and, it worked.
it's not. What I'm very concerned about in September, Joe Biden's White House memoir comes out, and I'm like, Joe,
I
just
know.
stay
Let
in the shadows,
let it
man.
go.
Can't you do that? Do you want to do a memoir? Have it come out in January. Why right before the midterms? Nobody wants to revisit this.
I
So
know.
that's going to get brought up before. Every time, so like the Obama Presidential Center just opened. So again, that's a ripe, juicy target for the right to go after, and it dominates the news cycle for a few weeks, and it doesn't help the Democrats. Uh,
So that gets attention, but the newly retrofitted, gift from airplane from Qatar doesn't. I mean, that doesn't get it. That doesn't
no,
get.
because Trump has the bully pulpit. That's what it is, and Trump can. His magic power is whatever
Hey.
seems negative, he just kinda deflects it and makes a joke and moves on. So it doesn't seem like such a big deal, and
Yeah.
it doesn't seem to bother his base. The, mainstream and progressive media run around for a day or two like their hair is on fire, and then something else comes up and it recedes into the background. And he knows it. He really knows it. Some things he can escape, and certainly the outcome of the war in Iran, everything that I've been reading the last 2 or 3 weeks, the perception has definitely shifted,
Yeah.
like, US got hosed. This MOU is terrible. It's not good. It hasn't gone the way Trump wanted. Now we have a huge break with Israel. It's almost unprecedented.
And
So
then they're going
that's
to
that,
asking for 80 billion.
yeah. So
Yeah.
that's really big. In the midst of all of this, Hegseth had a editorial in the New York Post a few days ago where he was asking for more money for the defense budget.
Yeah.
I think that was like, "Hey, hair gel, read the room. Americans don't wanna spend more money. We don't want more taxes." So, that's some of the things that, people are grappling with right now.
And then
But
yesterday, the
if the
housing
gas
bill.
prices come down come the fall, anything is possible in the midterm elections.
And also in September, isn't it also, the government budget's coming up too? We could head towards another shutdown too, isn't that at the
Yes.
end of
Yeah.
September? So that could be a major factor as well,
Yes.
right
Yes.
around election, and they have so far, not a great track record in this
Yes.
term.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it is. Do you think that Nancy Pelosi is, like, speed dialing, like, Hakeem Jeffries and, all the heads of the party? Because Nancy has still got the grip. And respect to her, but everything's changing. It does feel like did you watch was it on Fox News? I think it was with Hakeem Jeffries was being interviewed, and it got a little tense.
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, it got a little tense. Like he was very, very defensive, Hakeem Jeffries, because they got kind of spanked on Tuesday night.
Yeah, with some justification. Yeah. I mean, on one hand, I would hope, Nancy Pelosi is working behind the scenes
I
to
hope
keep
so.
the Democrats from fracturing so much, but I it feels like there's been a generational shift, and
Yeah,
it's starting to feel, I like it's Mondami's at least today, it feels like it's Mondami's party. He's the star of the party.
right.
And he's a very talented politician. There's a lot about him I'm not a fan of, some of his politics, but he
Great speaker.
certainly has the charisma, and he's probably energizing the youthful part of the party, which is good. It's getting people to pay attention.
Hmm.
Uh, but some of the people that he endorsed, in the 3 primaries in New York, like, whoa, very problematic, and I believe that will come back to haunt the party. Certainly in the midterms, that's gonna be a big issue, and
Right.
not a good thing, as I said earlier.
Right. I think we should learn a lesson from history, especially with what we're going through currently. If somebody's going to want to change everything and upset the system,
I
we
mean,
need
when you
to
have a
push it.
Mondami out there, and then you start looking at potential candidates for 2028 from the Democrats, like, Josh Shapiro doesn't look, he looks like a bowl of warm milk compared to Mondami,
Yeah.
um, or Andy Bashir from Kentucky. Um, they do not look like exciting candidates that are going to, stoke the imagination of young voters or independent voters that the Democrats need.
Right. I even question, Pete Buttigieg went out on a high note, I think. And I still think he could be a strong candidate, but I just don't know if he's going to have the momentum either. This,
Well, I like Pete
me
Buttigieg, and I
too.
think he's talented, but I don't think that the country's ready for a gay president.
Yeah,
And again, we've had 2 women. I hate to say this, but we've had 2 women fail,
I know.
um, and it's like, that's not gonna play now. I mean, you gotta play to win.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. You gotta play to win, you know, just get Trumpism, put it in your rearview mirror. Get a candidate up there who's gonna win. That's what you want. And it may not be someone who's gonna appeal to every single element of the Democratic Party.
Yeah. And there was one also an article that was in your newsletter today that I think it gave a link. It was about the whole Tom Blanche confirmation, and I think you linked it to
Wall Street
uh,
Journal editorial
yes,
by William
yes,
Barr.
yes, exactly. And even I would have completely missed that article. But even I was shocked that Bill Barr was, basically giving a stamp of approval to have him confirmed. I was floored. I'm like, hold on here, Bill.
It's right. Wasn't that
What?
I was like, "What? Are you
I
kidding?"
know.
And
So
and
was
he
I. So
kinda
thank you for
he's
giving me that. I would have missed it.
he sanitized it. He made him sound and basically he was saying, "We gotta confirm Todd Blanche because anyone else is gonna be worse." If I mean, can anyone be worse? I I I struggle to think that anyone's worse than Todd Blanche,
I know. And
Trump's former personal attorney.
I mean, look what happened to Pam.
It's
So she couldn't make the cut. I mean, I don't know. I do not know how he could be confirmed, and he probably will be. That's unfortunate. I've said that about so many people recently. I'm like, there's no way that they'll confirm this individual, and did.
yes.
So you and your team must be very busy leading up to the election, scouring all the media outlets trying to get this information.
I mean, I have it down in the morning. I sit down at my desk at 8:30 after I have my, second cup of coffee, and I work till about 11 o'clock, and that's when I hit send on the newsletter. And the hardest part of the job is actually writing the, 300-word introduction.
Right.
'Cause you're trying to be funny, you're trying to look for things just like you just mentioned, like William Barr, the former attorney general under Trump 1.0. You're looking for stuff like that. You're trying to put your asides in, my own point of view, trying to be funny, trying not
Yeah.
to get sued. Then I try and put in stuff like I always put in every Friday weekend watch, just to trying to give people an idea what to do so to get their mind off politics.
Yeah.
And I know for myself, I spend my Saturdays and Sundays, May through October, fishing along the Jones Beach Inlet. So
Well,
that's how I
very nice.
and
So
most of the crowd there's not a lot of crowd, but it is very MAGA heavy. I am sure I am the only fisherman along there who, when the fishing gets slow, whips out his iPhone and starts reading the Washington Post opinion page.
yeah.
Not many people are doing that. So
Well, I appreciate it because I am originally from West Virginia. So every time I go home, I everybody has an opinion for me. And I sometimes I just like, where are you getting this information? And you have broken it down very well. You kind of give me cliff notes, the cheat sheets I need, and the direct links I need to get the source of information to better understand it. And you do provide the humor. So
yeah,
I
that's exactly it. That's
I
it.
loved it. And like I said, you've got me now, and you have a really good team too. So
Very nice.
please tell everyone where we can find you. When do your newsletters come out? And how can we all jump on the bandwagon and subscribe to your newsletter?
Well, the newsletter is out 5 days a week. You can find it at thewriting.com, and that's TheWrighting.com. It's free. All you have to do is click subscribe. I hope everyone will do it and send me a note and let me know how you like it.
Yeah, and I think it's great for people on the right. I like the humor in it myself, but I think it's a good quick read for them so they can get some information. I think it's a really good read for the people on the left so they understand what is happening on the right. So we have to step out of our silos of information, right? So I really enjoyed your newsletter. Sure, there are some pretty big names on that list because you want to know.
Yeah.
You want to know.
I
I
mean, I
do wanna
do,
ask.
some former girlfriends have subscribed, so it's all daunting,
Yeah.
governors. So, but it makes me work harder. It makes me work smarter. And I try not to have any typos in there. I'm not always perfect. I'll tell you that much.
As somebody who's been in the journalism field for so long, how many times do you have to go back and read Truth Social? When you read it, you're like, did I just read that correctly? And have to go back and read it again? Because sometimes it is illogical. It sounds insane. Some of the posts
His
that
spelling and punctuation just boggles the mind. I
lack of
mean,
grammar.
if you're the president of the United States, it's aspirational. He should represent the best of us. Instead, if he handed in some of his tweets and to an 8th grade English teacher, he'd get an F.
Yeah.
It's
Oh.
just it doesn't make sense how he capitalizes certain things. He
Oh.
makes up it's he makes up his own rules. Duh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how Trump rolls.
Well, remember what he said? I love the uneducated.
Yeah.
And wasn't it his professor? I think it wasn't it from Wharton School was like he was the worst student I've ever had in all my years of teaching. I read somewhere a long time ago. Don't quote me on that, but they had said something. It was from his
But
one of his professors.
I do think, and people may not like me for saying this, I do think he's brilliant. And it's, because people say he's stupid, he doesn't understand history, stuff like that. But again, I say you underestimate him at your peril. The fact that he could ascend to the highest position in the government and
Twice,
not once but twice,
twice
he could he,
after
you
being
know,
convicted.
yeah, you have to be brilliant. You have, when he speaks, to speak like that, almost off the top of his head, constantly for
Right.
an hour and a half.
Yeah.
It's there is some kind of brilliance behind it. It's not conventional brilliance, and that is the thing about him.
It is. It is something remarkable to see. If you could go back in time, like 25 years ago, the turn of like 2000s, who would have thought we would be here today?
I mean, Jillian, I worked for Ted Turner, and I spent a lot of time with him, and and when he first started out in when he was rising to prominence in the late 70s, early 80s, the powers that be in New York media thought he was a country bumpkin from Georgia.
Yeah.
And they always underestimated him because he didn't do things the way it was done in big time media in New York. But that was his secret power, and that enabled him to become the powerful, brilliant person that he became.
It was. Yeah. Yeah, we lost definitely a legend in the news world by
Yes.
losing him. And you also work for TV Guide. I feel like saying, I must have known you my entire life because growing up, we used to refer to as a TV Guide in our house as my
TV
dad's
guy.
Bible. We were never allowed to touch it. So I read so many articles growing up. I constantly read the TV Guide. I loved it. That is a piece of Americana. I miss it.
Yeah, no, what? No, it was when I was there, it was the largest magazine in the world.
Yeah.
Uh, so it was a real powerhouse, and TV it was so fun to cover. I was just starting out in New York in my professional life, and to deal with the television networks, it was great experience, glamorous,
Yeah.
uh, a lot of fun.
And J.K. Rowling too, that's on your list too. That's a big one. So
I worked for her.
let's
Yes, I
pull the
did.
young
Yes,
people in here.
yes, yes, I did.
Well, that's wonderful. Well, I have thoroughly enjoyed your newsletter. It has been an absolute pleasure having you on the show today. You were just wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Well,
I'm glad you invited me on your show.
it was truly, truly a pleasure. And please come back anytime and break some stuff down for us because I'm sure there's going to be so many new
It,
trends approaching the upcoming elections that I'm going to have no idea what is going on. And I'm going to need somebody to please explain it to me.
all right, let's get together in October. I think that's
Okay,
all
sounds
right.
great. Well, thank you so much for your time. And I hope you have a very wonderful day and weekend. Well, that is it for us today. Thank you so much to our special guest, Howard Polskin of The Writing. If you like what you heard today, go check out his newsletter, The Writing, and please listen to Polywine wherever you get your podcasts, and go follow us on Instagram at PollyWineTime and a TikTok at Polywine. Thank you so much. Have a great day. We'll see you soon. Bye.